tell me about this cute little robot mascot.
Astro Bot, man. Okay, so you played Astro's Playroom, right? Of course, who didn't?
Fantastic game.
Game of the year when the year the PlayStation launched. We can all agree. What did you think of that game? Did you not play that and think, I'm going to lead the witness here? Did you not play that and think, damn, this game is so short. I wish it was longer. I just want more of this.
Exactly that. How did you know, Judge?
Okay, Judge. I've only played for, I'd say, an hour and a half, 2 hours. But Astro Bot is just Astro's Playroom on a bigger scale. It's just more levels. There are new things to do, new gadgets, I guess, or new, platforming tricks or tools to use as you make your way through these levels. It's just Astro's Playroom, but on a large scale. There's just more of it, and that is the best news ever, because Astro's Playroom
100%.
was honestly, I think every person who bought the PlayStation played that because it came, bundled with the PlayStation, and you don't have to play it, but if you boot up your PlayStation, it's there, you should play it 100%. And I think everyone who did actually give it the time, just a short hour or two it took to finish it, was blown away, because it was, for all intents and purposes, a hardware showpiece for what the DualSense could do at the time, whatever. But it was really just a taste. It was it's a short little experience. But then it was also unexpectedly packaged into this really cute platforming game. Not only are you using the controller to do these, it's not only is it showing wow, look at the pressure triggers and the vibration and all of that, but it's actually wrapped in this really, unexpectedly suitable, competent platformer. And I think the studio have just, honestly, the brief was, hey, that was well received, can you just make a bigger game? So all these years later, more of that. Years later, that's what we've got. And it just makes me wish that we had more games that really put the DualSense to use like this game does, because it really, it just uses it in such imaginative ways. And I know you're watching the footage now. This little monkey climbing trick we saw in Astro's Playroom. But believe me,
I recall that. Yeah,
this is just a level they've obviously taken. They've kept that trick, if I call it that gimmick. But they've played a number of other levels where there's just brand new things, just different things to do with the controller, or different cool tools. And then not only that, it's got that good thing of it's wrapped up in PlayStation nostalgia. You're out here rescuing a whole lot of bots that come that are inspired by other games or referencing other games. So it's just a good time. All I can say is the opening hours I've played have been, we discussed this on the Discord this week, where game's good when it makes you goofy smile. And this game has had me goofy smiling, honestly, the whole time. From the moment the credits, the game started, it's just joy. It's just so good.
And I feel like, we play a lot of great games year in, year out, but I think that feeling that you're describing is a lot more rare nowadays, because a lot of games are very, I'm not complaining, but very serious, very cinematic, dramatic. The idea of just a pure, unadulterated joy from a game is something that I think has been quite exclusive to your platforming mascots, like your Marios and stuff like
100%,
that.
So,
yeah, for PlayStation to have one of those again, considering back in the day that was your Crash Bandicoot, which is no longer even a PlayStation property. It's kind of remarkable that in a 2024, this is the biggest game Sony is putting out this year, and it is just a platformer mascot game.
And it's funny because we joke Astro's Playroom, it's the game of the year that year. What is it, 2020 or whatever? This game, unironically, again, this, I get it. Still early days, but this could be a game of the year contender, just from what I've seen, just the polish and love and just everything that's gone into it. It's just such a wholesome, great package. But yeah, again, it's early days. We were talking before we started recording, it's about 8 hours long, maybe longer if you're 100% it, which, if you want to talk raw value, it's not an RPG length game, but I think if it keeps up this momentum that I've had in the first hour and a half, 2 hours, for that duration, worth it. Really, really so good.
And I think, the first, the demo that came with the PlayStation obviously was there to kind of show off the capabilities, especially of the controller, because, I mean, the DualSense at the time was very novel and having its analog triggers and whatever. But I think a lot of games haven't really utilized that in a big way. I still think Astro's Playroom is the best example of how it can be used. And has that been like, I know in the footage now you've got the monkey thing, which is quite similar to what was in Astro's Playroom, although I can tell it's slightly different.
There's different.
Like what other things have you seen that make use of the controller in a cool way?
So there's a level, there's actually been 1 or 2 levels where you get a dog on your back. And if you hold R2, it's got that pressure. Like it gives you resistance, but if you push through it, you launch as a jetpack straight forward.
Oh, cool.
It just feels satisfying to do. And there's another level where maybe you'll remember, I couldn't remember, but in Astro's Playroom, were there ever like boxing gloves?
I couldn't. Not that I recall.
Okay, so then that's a new thing as well, where there's a level where you get, it's for all intents and purposes boxing gloves where each shoulder button is a punch. And
that's cool.
You just run around the level punching stuff.
That sounds cool. That sounds great. I'm in.
Yeah, 100%. And then it's the same thing where it's not just the inputs you give the controller, not just what you do to the controller, right? Like it's still got the thing of when you running over a glass surface, you can hear it through the controller audio, and then you can, quote unquote, feel it. Just the subtle vibration changes, like whether you're running through over glass, through sand, through grass, whatever. It's just you can feel it, and it's little details like that where you think, shit, the PlayStation's been out for what, like 4 years now. I think it's going on 4 years.
Actually, yeah.
And I can't tell you how many games have put that level of love into the DualSense. Like there are some exceptions where a good example is like the recent Star Wars Outlaws. Like I'm surprised by how much that does actually use a controller. But even then it's like barely doing it like how Astro games do. And then there's also like Returnal's the only other PlayStation exclusive where I'm like, yeah, that had like 1 or 2 specific instances of using the DualSense, but there's been nothing else like that since. So it's just weird that you've got this hardware. It feels good to have it in the game. Like I can tell I haven't read any reviews, but I'd bet money that 90% of them will go on about, wow, the controller like really makes the game more immersive, or it's part of the experience. And like I get it, if you're doing a multi-platform game to put resources into making the controller part of it or whatever, I'm just surprised that more haven't. Even Sony themselves, like a lot of their first party games, if I think Horizon Forbidden West, like they didn't really use the controller as well as I thought it would.
Yeah, agreed. It's in hindsight, it's maybe they were lucky that they didn't go that approach, because a lot of those games have come to like PC, and if they had a lot of mechanics tied to the DualSense, that starts becoming a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
it's part of the reason why I don't think we'll see Astro Bot on the PC like ever. I just think, like you're saying, it's so deeply coupled to the DualSense that you could probably put it on PC and then require the DualSense, but like that immediately cuts your market like so much,
Yeah.
But you're right. Like games like Spider-Man and Horizon don't really. They do the things with the DualSense that you expect, like resistance on a web swing or on a bow draw or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Returnal and I'd say Ratchet and Clank did probably the most with it. Yeah, just like altering the way you interact with like weapons in that game, but still to no degree that Astro does. I think your example of like glass and grass is something I'd forgotten about from Astro's Playroom. I distinctly remember a level there where there was rain, and you could, like, the combination of hearing the rain from the controller and the subtle vibration on the controller made it feel like actual rain, which was like incredible.
Yeah,
and I think it's because they give so much focus to that. They fine tune it so precisely that there's a lot of retention there, which other games just don't. They don't have the time to really, do that.
But it's funny because even last night Lenska was just chilling, scrolling on a phone, and when it happened where I ran from like it was like a wooden surface to like a metallic surface, and that's where it triggered. I was like, oh yeah, like I forgot that they do this with the controllers. So I said to her, just feel it, and she took the controller and she just started playing. She's like, wow, this feels so nice. Which it is.
I'm actually kind of hoping that I can get Shani to play this as well, because it's like, you know, it's meant to be a breezy platform. It's not meant to be like overly complex or anything like that. So.
It's just super tactile. It's very satisfying, honestly. The only thing I will say, if you want to talk about difficulty, it's not like, it's not a Dark Souls or an Elden Ring, but it is still something that it's a one-hit kill. Which,
that's quite interesting.
Yeah, okay. which it was in Astro's Playroom as well, where you get hit, you know, you die. And there's a lot of checkpoints, don't get me wrong. But I think it can be a bit frustrating. Like I fought a boss already, and there are obviously more bosses ahead. And that's a thing of, if you die at any point in, you know, the typical 3-phase approach, whatever, like I do think you have to restart from scratch, which might be off-putting to some people, like, you know, a Shani or Lenska who don't necessarily play games all the time. But maybe there's accessibility features that I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I wonder if there's stuff there to make it a bit easier.
But that aside, like, I think this game's accessible to anyone, like anyone and everyone, whether you're a newcomer or a platforming veteran. Like, there's a lot of joy to be found here, honestly. It's just super satisfying.
I'm just enjoying watching you, like,
just
climbing with the monkey. I mean, it is similar to the one in Playroom.
It is. It's
cool that the monkey's like on your back. It's not like you are controlling a different character.
And this one, I think, I'm sure you've watched, like, hitting the ground. I don't think you could do that in Astro's Playroom. It like shakes the ground and things happen. It's great though. I'm very excited to see, because like I finished the first of 5. I think there's 5 overworlds. I finished the first one. I mean, even there, I've already seen so many cool little neat tricks and mechanics. I'm very eager to see what else I have ahead. There's a level I played last night, and I won't say it for spoiler reasons, but the little trick of it, I was just like, this is incredible. I'll talk to you when you further in the game. I'm like, have you played this level? Honestly, one of the coolest levels I've played. Like,
is there a little room? I remembered in Playroom, there was that room where you unlocked like 3D models of different PlayStation hardware, which was kind of cool. And then all your bots were just like running around there as well. Like a hub.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There's that on a much bigger scale.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, you basically have I'll just call it like your hub, but it's the same thing where all the bots you've seen me collecting in the game now, they end up going to that main planet, and as you play the game, that planet, like that area, starts populating with things you've collected and starts being repaired.
So it is similar.
It's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that because it was like a little museum of Sony hardware, which I thought was quite neat.
It's hilarious because the basic premise of this game, I mean, this is like opening scene, so I'm not considering it spoilers, but you flying your PlayStation 5 ship through the galaxy.
Of course.
And then
who doesn't have one? Your
PlayStation ship gets destroyed, basically. Okay, and the whole point of the game is you putting your PlayStation 5 back together. Just like, it is hilarious. It's when you think about it, like, Sony really be making me play a game about like rebuilding their console.
So Astro's Playroom is basically their warranty program.
100%, without a doubt.
Fantastic.
But it is funny because
they found a way to monetize it. It's great.
Like, Sony definitely struck gold with Crash Bandicoot back in the PlayStation 1 era. And,
yes.
But over the years, I feel like Crash kind of just became disassociated with PlayStation for numerous reasons. It got acquired by Activision, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's multi-platform. Mm-hmm. It's really nice to see that Sony have now seemingly nailed. They've got a mascot like a Mario again. Like, I feel that Astro's has definitely ticked that box, and I don't see them not making more games in future. Like this, I'm convinced this will be their Mario now, where we will every
Yeah.
2-3 years get an Astro Bot 2, 3, whatever it is, and they'll keep experimenting in this, with this IP.
I just love to a degree that Sony kind of listened, because like, they packaged the original Astro Bot with the PlayStation, but it was through like a lot of people like, wow, this is so much better than what a tech demo should be. This is an actual game that I would play a bigger
just
one
make
of.
it a game, yeah.
Yeah, I think they could have like completely not heard that or ignored it, and we would have never got an Astro Bot 2. So especially when like, what was the studio in Japan? Was it Team Japan that closed down not long after the PlayStation 5 launched? And that was like, okay, well, Bloodborne's not happening. The potential for another Astro Bot seemed quite limited, because now, would Team Asobi still survive that?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool that this exists, and that I hope it just sells well. Like ultimately, we talk about it, and there's a lot of positivity around it on social media, but it needs to sell. I don't think it needs to sell like obscenely well, considering a limited budget and limited team size that made this. But I hope that people show up in the way that they're talking about showing up.
Yeah, 100%. Just want to call attention. You ever seen what's happening in my game now?
There's so many little blue sapphires jumping around. It's cool.
I found a treasure room. Did you see what is in the treasure chests? It was a PlayStation.
I did not
trophy.
actually. I missed that. Was it a PlayStation what?
Trophy. It's so good.
Oh God. An actual trophy.
An actual golden trophy. It's so meta. It's
and did you get a trophy for finding the trophy?
No.
God
maybe
damn
I
it.
should have hit it. I don't know.
At one job.
But I'm telling you, there will be. This is a game I'll definitely platinum, because there will be.
I've seen people already putting out platinums there. It doesn't seem to be a super difficult one.
I think it's like Astro's Playroom, where it is you'll finish the game and go, oh, let me just go wrap up a couple
exactly.
trophies. But
yeah,
I have popped 1 or 2 trophies where it is like, do this on that level, where it's just a random thing. So I'm very keen to keep playing this game. It's speaking my language.
What's your? I know it would be somewhat a spoiler, but what's your favorite cameo so far?
Well, the block you. So we obviously get a Solid Snake surprise.
That's
but
cool.
One I didn't expect is you. This is also early levels. You collect Psycho Mantis as one of the collectibles. I was like, what?
Was there a Psycho Mantis like bot?
Yeah, so in the game you're collecting a whole lot of bots, but some of those bots you collect through each level are cameos, and some of the levels you play through are inspired by the cameos you are collecting, like very loosely. So it's funny, I picked up the Psycho Mantis bot. I was like, no way, straight in the childhood, okay. And then, you know what else I've brought back in this game? Best feature. You remember the little gacha machine where you put money in and you pull?
Oh, yes, you get the little balls.
You get collectibles. You get collectibles for each of the characters you pick up in the level. So for Psycho Mantis, for one of the gacha balls I got was a PlayStation 1 with a TV, because obviously referencing the gimmick of you had to swap the memory card to beat him.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, this is just for someone who's been with PlayStation from the beginning. It is unreal to see that level of like callback, because not everyone's going to get that. So I think a lot of people are like, who is this guy? Like, oh, it's Solid Snake and some random guy. But if you're like, oh my God, like that is me as a kid going, how do I beat this bloody boss? And then you go, oh, yeah, you got to swap the memory, the controller port. Like, yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine if you found Psycho Mantis and he just did the thing where he like moves his hands and the controller like vibrated in tune with that? That would have blown my fucking mind.
So good.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Damn, that's awesome. And that little detail, for a villain who only appears in a 25-year-old Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah.
If they put that much detail into him, I assume it's going to be the same for a lot of the cameos. So that's really cool.
There's some stuff I've played that I won't say because I want you to enjoy the game, but there's just a lot of love and detail. It's stupid good fun, and I'm very keen to keep playing more.
Can't wait till you get to the end and the credits just announces Bloodborne 2 and it'll be great.
Whoa. Yeah. You collect the hunter, then another hunter. You're like, wait, who's this? And they go, that's right, Bloodborne 2.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, can't believe this.
Astro Bot just gets plumped into the hunter's dream, and
my
it's like
gosh.
coming 2025. You're just like, oh, damn.
I'm there for it. Don't get me wrong. Good God. Yeah, but Astro's Playroom, Astro Bot. Sorry, I keep getting the
Astro
names.
Bot, just self-titled Astro Bot.
It's real good.